everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Almost ProTips Podcast from South Dakota Gives. This is Eric McDowell, and I'm here today with Julia Kittelson of the Black Hills Raptor Center. Hey, Julia.
Hi there. Thanks for having us.
Thanks, Julia. Would you mind sharing just a little bit about yourself and about the Raptor Center?
Certainly. I am one of the volunteers, one of about 70 volunteers at the Black Hills Raptor Center. We are based here in the Black Hills, but we serve all of Western South Dakota and beyond. Raptor as in birds of prey, not velociraptors, regrettably. But yeah, our mission is to support birds of prey in their habitats through education, rehabilitation, and research. So a lot of what we do is outreach. We'll take hawks and owls and falcons into classrooms, to state parks, to 5Ks, wherever people are interested in wildlife. And we'll do presentations. We usually do about 125 to 150 presentations each year.
Mhm.
And then in addition to education, we do a little bit of raptor rehabilitation. So if an owl is trapped in a barbed wire fence, tragic, or if an eagle's been hit by a car, we have a squad of volunteers that can help to assess the damage and get the bird the care that it needs. And to help with that, we are breaking ground on a new building. We've got a few buildings now out near Caputa. We are so happy to have a dedicated facility. But we'd like to treat injured raptors right here in kind of Rapid City, Caputa, so that we don't have to drive them to their next step in their medical journey. We'd love to treat them right here. And so we're building the rehabilitation and research hub to hopefully be able to treat all kinds of injuries locally and better serve Western South Dakota with injured birds.
Well, that's really exciting. Congratulations on moving forward with a big project like that. I understand that the Raptor Center has been uh, doing day of giving campaigns for 4 or so years, and you've been up since day one. Is that right?
Yeah. Since we decided to dip our toe into the South Dakota Gives waters, I've been helping out with it. It's been primarily me, but of course, assisted here and there by a few of our other volunteers.
So, what would you say you've learned over those years? What have you tried? What's worked well? How can you reflect on the 4 years so far?
Yeah, it has been a lot of fun, and I have been blown away by the generosity of a lot of folks for some of our campaigns. Of course, we're super grateful to receive money any time of year. It doesn't have to be during the Day of Giving, but the outpouring of support we receive is really fantastic. We do get a lot of engagement whenever we feature our owls.
Mhm.
Owls have really big eyes. They're just so charismatic. They look like humans. They sound weird. And whenever we have a photo with an owl in it, it tends to go over well. Uh, so yeah, photos with owls are successful. We have gotten a chance to team up with some other really great local organizations. The Sturgis Public Library teamed up with us this past year, and they had reached out to us first, and they said, would you consider doing a story time with us? Like, we'll bring the books, you bring the owl,
Mhm.
and we'll do an adult story time, because everyone's got to like a kid's story time, and the
Right.
kids love it and it's fantastic. But I'm sure adults would enjoy a story as well, and they'll especially enjoy it with an owl, and maybe they'll really enjoy it if it's in a local bar. The Sturgis Brewing Company hosted us, and that was wonderful. We said yes immediately, of course, and that was great because we are not in Sturgis quite as often as we're in Rapid City. So that got us a chance to connect to some new area, new folks that might donate and learn about the Raptor Center. It was a ton of fun. So that was a plus. And yeah, now we've got kind of that partnership. Maybe we'll do stuff in the future. It's very exciting.
You were talking about the photos and videos that you've been able to share, and understand that those get some great engagement on the Day of Giving and around the Day of Giving. And of course, you have a good advantage in having a ready-made roster of cute and interesting mascots. Um, but I'm curious if you could talk a little bit about any advice you might have for others who maybe don't have that roster or menagerie to um, leverage visuals on social media, get people's attention, um, ideas for how they can do that, and maybe some insights on how you actually get it done. You're not taking all those photos and videos on the day of, I would like to assume.
Right. Absolutely. As far as getting it taken care of and not being completely overwhelmed on the day of giving, pretty much, I think as soon as you can register as a member of the event, you can download the packet that tells you these are the challenges that'll be coming. This is what you can do to be entered into the prize pool for all of these events. So first thing I'll do is I'll print that out and then I'll highlight the ones that I've already got ideas for or that I think would be very easy for us to do. So that's great to plan ahead of time.
Mm.
And it's always wonderful to have a bank of photos to draw from. So throughout the year, if you can be taking photos, if you're worried that you might not have a lot of photos because of confidentiality or you don't have a photographer, you're too busy doing the incredible work that your nonprofit does,
Right.
um, you can try and create kind of a mascot. You could have an animal, maybe not an owl, but maybe your pet cat, maybe your pet dog, and have them as kind of the face of your campaign and have them explain all the wonderful things about your organization, um, maybe volunteer opportunities, and they can kind of be the face if you're not comfortable being in front of the camera.
Mhm.
You could put googly eyes on a shoe, and that'll be unusual. That'll stick in people's heads, I'm sure. And
Well,
maybe you could get some puns out of it, um, or a sock puppet. Um, this can be really engaging too. So it might get a little silly, but then you'd at least have something to build a campaign around, something to focus on.
right. I think fun, silly ideas are good. Some of those ideas are approachable and doable, and it's important, I think, to think visually when you're thinking about social media, um, and how to catch attention when, it's not a competition, but 400 other nonprofits are in the state trying to run their own campaigns, or even more than that, those who are doing Giving Tuesday outside of South Dakota Gives. Um, when we talk about social media, we know that not everybody is on Facebook, or not all your donors or your constituents are on Facebook. Have you thought about ways to reach those folks who aren't?
So to get beyond, those two kind of platforms, it's great that we do the email, the thanks for giving email that's sent out kind of the week of Thanksgiving that reminds you to thank your donors, let them know what you've accomplished that year and that you're gearing up for the day of giving. So maybe mark it on your calendar. So there's a lot of people that maybe don't have Facebook, but do check their email. And then when we're able to do those partnerships, like the event with the Sturgis Public Library, we were out in a place we hadn't been before, and people were seeing us, maybe people who didn't even know about the event, but they were enjoying a meal at the next table. And they're looking over like, why do they have an owl? And then they learn about our mission and what we do and that we exist here. So I think the email helps a lot. If you're able to do an event on the day or ahead of the day, that can be a way to reach people that maybe aren't on social media.
Yeah, I think that's really good advice. I get the sense from everything you've said, really, that you have a lot of fun with the day. And a lot is happening, especially on the day of giving, and it can feel, I think, a little overwhelming, or, it's a bit of a scramble. But do you just have advice about like how to have the right attitude, how to make it fun, and get the most out of it in that sense?
So I think to not get overwhelmed, if it's the first time you're ever doing a South Dakota Day of Giving campaign, you don't have to do all of the things.
Mhm.
You could do like the things you have to do. Definitely get registered. Definitely do some sort of fundraising on the day. And if you're overwhelmed, if you're doing 12 other things at the same time, you could plan ahead with that sheet that's printed out and say, I can at least do these two challenges and have something out. And we'll do that the first year and we'll see how it goes. I think the challenges themselves have a fun aspect to them sometimes. Sometimes they're very serious, like, why is your mission critical to the state of South Dakota? And some of them are, what did you have for breakfast today?
Mm.
Um, and I think that can be fun, especially when you're in, the field of fundraising. It can be really hard to go up to strangers and ask for money. And you might be working with an underserved group in the community, where there's just real bummers happening all the time.
Right.
But it could be nice to remember that, oh, there's some good things too. There's there's still delicious breakfasts. There's still ridiculous emojis that we can use.
Um, I'm thinking about another thing that may take a little bit of pressure off the idea of the day, which is, what does success have to look like? Is it just if you raise X amount of dollars and you do that again the next year or even better? What are some of the ways that you and the Raptor Center have looked at, like, how do you know that the day was successful for you?
The money is nice, of course,
It's helpful. Yeah.
but it's also great. We do see a few more people learn about us as we go on, because we've spent, a few weeks leading up to it. And then that day, it's just nonstop ridiculous pictures, and people will share those, and we'll get folks, oh, where are you located? Can I come see you? Can I come volunteer with you? What is this bird that I saw in my backyard?
Julia, you mentioned earlier the new project that you guys all have in the works, and I'm just curious if on the day of giving you have fundraised around a specific project, or if it's just kind of a general fundraiser for you.
Yeah, so we always have to choose which pot it's going to go into. We've got our kind of our operations focus, and then we've got our construction project, and like both vitally important. But which one does Day of Giving go to? We did construction, I think, our first year. This most recent year, we focused it on our operations, which can be really mundane stuff. Like we need staples for the stapler, copy paper. We need Dawn dish soap just to wash the dishes.
Right.
And so I think when I was fundraising at one point, it's kind of a blurb, but I had, donate to our cause. We're going to be using this for our day-to-day needs, such as, and then I like danced around with scissors and like vogued with some sisal rope, which we use to cover perches, just like really mundane stuff that no one is excited to donate about.
Mm-hmm.
But you can kind of make it exciting by being very ridiculous and silly about it. So yeah, we chose operations this past year, and it was fantastic because we got a nice chunk of change. A lot of new people learned about us. So yeah.
That's great. I think lean into it. And, it's important for people to understand that nonprofits have to keep lights on and, all these other things that may not be as glamorous as an owl or, but are supportive of the mission. The other thing, Julia, that you said at the outset of our conversation was just the sheer generosity that you've seen through Day of Giving and obviously throughout the year. So my final question is just, what is it that makes you proud and happy to be a part of the South Dakota nonprofit sector?
I think it makes it feel like so much more of a neighborhood, because it can be really awkward going up to a stranger and, asking for them to invest in your mission. But on the Day of Giving, everyone's getting together to do it, and it's much more like a neighborhood. It's like, these aren't strangers. These are just people I haven't told about the Raptor Center yet.
Right.
And it's great to see what everyone else is doing, all the other good work. Like Mr. Rogers always said, his mom told him, when things are looking bleak, look for the helpers. And the state is just chock full of helpers, which gives you a lot of energy to be like, yes, I am going to, post these things and then really throw myself into the fundraising here. And yeah, it just makes it really fun to see what everyone else is working on and how excited they are about it.